if we start like when you first joined, what did that look like? What would you say like the biggest obstacles for you at that point were? What kind of the biggest challenges you were facing?
So it would definitely been my back pain at that point. And like it feels weird even now being able to say it was like a past thing. Like at the time I was so mentally like done almost. Like I literally thought I'm stuck, this is it, I'm ruined for life sort of thing. But to feel like it's now gone away is such a relief, because it stopped me doing anything, like even walking for a long time I'd then be in pain. So but as being like a sporty person, I couldn't run, I couldn't really jump, I was just completely held back by that. So that was easily my biggest issue back then. And also I think the reason I got the back pain in the first place was because my training was off. Like I wasn't connecting hockey and my gym together. They're completely separate. So the biggest difference now is that I'm going to the gym and I'm everything feels like it's got more of a purpose, and I'm not just doing like bicep exercises just for fun, just have big biceps. Like it's not important for me. I was never just a gym goer to be big overall. It was always to support hockey, but I just had never had the direction that I have until now. So I think that's why I got injured, because I was gymming. I was trying to cover so many muscle groups and cover them twice a week that I was doing a lot, and I probably wasn't stretching, and I think that's why the back pain came in the first place. So yeah, I feel like a much better place now than I was to begin with.
That's a huge result, isn't it? Just being able to not have that back pain, and it sounds like that's had a big impact on your confidence in your body and your ability to play as well. I remember when you first came to me, you said, almost like you felt like you're having to hold yourself back. You're worried about, particular parts of the season. You might be getting injured. You felt like certain things in the gym you were just staying well clear of, because you almost thought you couldn't load it at all. That was kind of the point you got to, wasn't it? So is that a kind of nice confidence boost for you as well? Just being able to feel like you can go into the gym, you can load, you can train effectively, and you're back on track with your hockey training as well. Is that a big win?
Yeah, because it wasn't like, even then the training wasn't efficient because I was scared to load. And if you're scared in the gym it doesn't work. It's just, then you don't push yourself. So, and I always found it'll be interesting coming back to the hip thrust, that's today, because that was one thing I psychologically, because of the back pain, I was so scared. I'd literally sit there, my hands on the bar, ready to go, but I'd be like, why aren't I going? Why am I just sat here? Because I was just mentally scared. And so it's a whole different game when you're nervous to lift the weights. It just doesn't work. So fingers crossed today. I mean, I can bridge and everything like that now fine. So it's just a case of, I think I'll probably still be slightly cautious just in terms of the weight. I won't obviously just carry on where I was. So I think I'll take some time with the session today and do lots of warm-up reps and stuff like that. So yeah.
Fingers crossed. Really good idea. I think, we're just introducing that again. I think it's important just to start with very little load, even just if you've got like a training bar or just like a light load, even like a plate or something, and just get yourself back into the swing of doing that movement without pain. And then as it gets easier, begin to load that back up again. But even just being able to do a rep of a hip thrust without pain would be a really nice place to be. But equally, if you're doing it and it doesn't quite feel right, like, don't worry if you need to just take a step back again, because the overall, if you zoom out, the overall progress is enormous. If it's like a little blip there, don't think, oh my God, I haven't made the progress that I wanted. So if that happens, don't worry, we can just take a step back and eke it up again. What about overall in terms of like the lessons you've gained from being on the program, or anything? Obviously had the results of it, which is, removing the back pain, which is a huge factor, and having the confidence to load yourself effectively and being able to perform on the pitch, but also have a hockey specific plan in place as well. You've got that direction, as you said. But have there been any lessons you've taken from it, in the sense of like, not like big life lessons, but things that you feel like, I've really learned some lessons from that process overall that you're going to take forward?
Yeah, 100%. I think I was speaking to my physio the other day, and like I didn't have the right mindset when it came to my training or my exercise, and like everything has a purpose, and I feel like I'm just taking better care of my body now. Like I was the classic, or I'm not going to warm down, or I'm not even going to spend much time warming up. I just need to get straight into the session. I think I was probably doing too many things as well. So I was like, oh my God, it's taking me an hour and a half. I'm just going to run out the gym and go home. But the lesson I've learned from thinking I was stuck with back pain forever, and then just finding out if I do everything right and I do the stretches and I do everything like that, then it's fine. But I just need to, my lesson is I've got to continue that. So I have like a really good stretch session on a Saturday now, and I will, when hockey comes back again, I want to do that on like a Friday night or a Saturday morning, depending on what time we've got to be there, just so I'm like, I feel confident that my muscles and everything are going to be okay. I just didn't take that side of it seriously enough, but I know if I don't, I could be in trouble again. So that's the biggest lesson of all, and I hope I just continue on, because it was just horrendous when I couldn't do it. So stretching and just preparing all the warm-up stuff, doing it by sort of word by word, that is, I need to do it. So it's good. That's the lesson I've learned.
Well, that's a really good one. And interesting, obviously, being a trainer yourself, and being able to work with clients. It's interesting that we often give advice to other people, and we know the types of things that we'd recommend to the people. I do this myself as well. We're all guilty of it, but we don't often do the things which we know probably to be true, just because you can't see things objectively when it's yourself. But I think that's a big shift when you've got the structure there in place. You can just be like, okay, this is what I need to do. I'm going to get it done, and take that forward as well. So, if you can have that as a structure and a sort of process you're going to stick to, and it's going to make a big impact, that's also really cool kind of take home as well in the long term, isn't it? Because for me, that's a big thing. It's not just about what happens in 12 weeks. It's about what happens beyond that point of, can you carry on with that? Are you going to be able to implement these things over a longer period of time and have a much longer term impact as well? Any of the lessons you're taking away in terms of either like your view of training, or your how results come about, or anything like that? Any kind of other lessons?
Yeah, I think I've never done any sort of sprint training, and I think I've never taken the time to have a sprint session each week. So when I first started sort of doing the sprints, I was like, am I going to get faster? Like, is this going to happen by just doing the activity? And it's crazy, because I did them the other day, and it was so weird. I felt like I was flying along, and I'm not sure if that's just I was in a great mood, but I just felt really powerful. And I don't know why I overlooked the importance of doing the actual sprints. Like, it's not just the stuff you do in the gym that's going to make you stronger. Doing the actual sprints, and I feel fitter as well. I remember when I first started doing them, I was literally on my walk back round about to start them, I was like dying. But like, I seem to just be better at that, and that's little things like that have definitely improved. And I think another big lesson is just the sort of the target and the direction. Everything is working towards the same thing. It's not just random stuff. So it then means more to me. So I'm more motivated to do it. You push yourself harder, because it's all going to the same thing instead of it just being completely random. So that's the biggest part, is that I wish I'd done this sooner, because I wish that I'd had more time to put my effort and stuff really specifically to hockey, because that's all I really care about at the end of the day. I started caring about my running recently, but definitely hockey is the main thing. So I just think it took seeing your Instagram and everything like that to go, well, why am I doing just random stuff in the gym? Like, I know I want to do that for hockey, but it's not adding up, because certain things I'm doing aren't benefiting me at all. And I had too many sessions, so then I feel bad by not going to them. So it feels like it's been concentrated down, because I've got the 2 main gym sessions a week, but they're really effective. And so it's completely changed the way I look at training completely, for sure.
Oh, amazing. Well, that's another big win then, isn't it? Just having a different perspective on how to train and how to be, how to work towards one clear outcome. It's amazing, actually, the number of people who, in a very similar position to you, like, have got an idea of what they want to achieve, but the training is a bit like this. It's like, I've got maybe like trying to do 5 things at once, and your body's only got so much capacity to do so. So when you just go, okay, that's the thing, and you push all the energy towards it, then that's when you get results. And the other interesting thing is sometimes it comes down to just like committing to that result as well, isn't it? And like you said, I think when you first joined, you're like, I've got to commit to this. I know I'm going to, get the results at the end of it, because you take that step, and that you really commit to it overall. Whereas I could tell other people who aren't on the program that over and over and over again, and be like, have one clear outcome, work towards one thing, and it's like, yeah. But it's once you've made that decision to commit, that's when you start to see the results. So I take your point about, should have done it sooner, but the fact you did it is the most important thing. It doesn't matter when that is. The fact you've got to that point is great. So it's been awesome to be able to get that result in a relatively short period of time as well. So the last question I'd like to ask is, what advice would you give other people going through a sort of similar process? So either people currently on the program, maybe people thinking about joining the program. What would be your main advice, having been through a similar process?
I think the main thing is to sort your schedule out like straight away, and then just just stick with it and just have the same thing each week. Because I know mine was sort of not out of choice because I had a few things changing, but just having that schedule, it just helps so much, because you know what you're doing. Like you said, you don't think, you just know this day I'm doing that, this day I'm doing this, and it just everything runs smooth. But as soon as it gets a bit hectic, but it does happen, but then as soon as you can, jumping straight back onto that schedule and just stick with it, because I think consistency is key, 100%.
Yeah, it's interesting how many people have said that. Actually, it's like easily said about being consistent until you do it and you stick to it, and then you see the result. And I was talking to another client last week, actually, in a very similar conversation, who basically said exactly that. Like, I was doing all sorts, was doing like 3 or 4 different things at a time, and then I was just like, right, I'm gonna stick to this for this time period every single week without fail. I'm going to be really disciplined, and also being patient in that process as well, because it's easy to get frustrated when you don't see results really quickly, and we live in a culture of instant gratification. We want to get a result like that, but sometimes with just a little bit of that kind of patience and delayed gratification, you get an even better outcome. And that, I think, in your case, is exactly what's happened. You've been committed and consistent, and not been like hurrying to get the result. You just been, okay, I'm going to stick to this, I know it's the right stuff, and then got the result. So that's awesome to have gone through that, I think, as well. Any other advice other than the sort of the patience and that consistency?
Gosh, I think I don't know if this is advice, but the thing that having the schedule, I think it allowed me to enjoy it a bit more. And like when my schedule went wrong and I was getting to like Wednesday and I was like, oh my God, I haven't started yet. Like, this is going to be awful. It puts the stress on it and takes the enjoyment out of it. So I think, as much as you can't force enjoyment, but you have to enjoy it. And if something like having that schedule and having it all set out helps with that, then you'll be fine. And I think sometimes if I hadn't, this is crazy to as a nutritionist, but if I didn't have the energy, the whole different game, like the effort and the mental fatigue gets me more. But then the difference when you fueled correctly is just crazy. Like, I remember, I think it might have been last Friday. I think I was in a really good mood. I had lots of energy, and something as small as having my earphones back, so I could put my earphones in. So I had lots of pumping music. So everything was just really lined up that day, and I had the best session I'd had. I felt really strong. I was really pushing it, like going that extra sort of effort into it. So having all those things lined up, it makes a big difference. And so you've got to have it all, be organized so you can enjoy it and then do your best. Bit of a long one, that
awesome.
one.
No, love that. Having everything in alignment, I think that's the main message there, isn't it? And both from like what you've decided is important, like chasing one clear goal, having the structure around that, and also setting your sessions up for success as well. If you've got other things on your mind or your energy's low, it's pretty difficult to get to get good results. Whereas as you said, if you've got music you like, fully energized, really focused on getting that result, then that's the type of stuff which makes all the difference. Because to an extent, yes, what the program looks like is key, but also how you're setting yourself up for success is just as important there. So another good lesson there from you. So the other bit then is just around sort of what happens next, really. So no need for me to continue recording this bit, because it's just more about your program specifically.